Welcome to another edition of First and 10 with Rams coach Joe Prud'homme. I'm Jimmy the St. Christopher. Well, the Global Clasico is over, and it was a rout, domination by the Rams over Arkansas State, Mexico, 54-0. Coach, how surprised were you by that big score?
I was surprised. But we were scoring offense, defense, special teams. When you score early on special teams and on defense, it's going to always bloat the score up a little bit. It's going to really punch it up and gets it out in a hurry, because when you start scoring touchdowns like that, it's, you know, they say, well, the offense did a lot of work, and they did, but it was, when you're scoring in all phases, that's kind of the result. That's what happens.
Had you seen that much tape on them?
Not really. We had not seen a tremendous amount of tape. We had seen some YouTube stuff. We had done some exchanges, but we had a good idea of what they would run base-wise, and we put in a real basic offense and defense for it that we felt we could execute well and not put a lot of pressure on our guys. I mean, we had a good idea what they would do.
Yeah, he came out of the chutes, 41 points in the first 16 minutes.
Yeah.
Then the second half, obviously, you got to play 4 quarterbacks and you know, more players, second and third string guys. But when did you decide to use the running clock?
Well, it wasn't true running clock. I mean, it was. I asked him towards the middle of the second quarter, could we consider that? Could we look at that? I wanted to, you know, you get in that situation, it gets to be a runaway. You never want it to embarrass anybody. You don't want anybody for a score to get out of hand like that. At least I don't. And so I'd asked him 2 or 3 times on the field, you know, if you get an opportunity to run some clock. And they did that for the most part. They did a good job of managing that part of it, you know, within the whole boundaries of the game. And but no, I asked for that like mid-second quarter.
Did you and Coach Garduno talk about calling off the dogs before the game?
Not really. He did ask me. He says, you know, take it easy on us if you get out there. And I said, well, likewise. You know, you always have that conversation. But he has a real young team, and we're more mature. We're an older team. We've kind of been on the other side of it back in 17, a little bit in 18. So I had a good feel for what he's going through experience-wise. So I was, you know, pretty empathetic towards it and wanted to make sure that, you know, we kept it as manageable as we could.
And as we said, you used 4 quarterbacks, a bunch of second and third string guys, pretty much almost the whole roster on both sides of the ball. Mm-hmm. How helpful was that using the power eye? Brendan Snow and I were up in the booth going, and they're using a power eye. We haven't seen that since you know, the Cowboy days. But
yeah, we were just trying to get in a run heavy set and run the clock and just try to get some first downs and see where we could go with it. But we had an opportunity to play a lot of our guys. And, you know, for this particular game, we played a whole lot of local guys. We felt it was important for them to get the chance to play at home in front of their families and their friends and their coaches. And you know, we had several schools that came in that we invited. And it was a great night. I mean, with the concert atmosphere, with the music, with the whole tailgate scene going on in the north perimeter, it was really, really great. It was a great environment. So yeah, we got to play everybody and try to manage it a little bit.
Any of the wonderful, solid
walnut
trophy.
Yes, it is gorgeous. They did a great job with it. You know, there's been talk of a traveling trophy, and I said, well, we'll just have to see if we're able to, you know, make it work to go down there. And but it is beautiful. That the detail on it's incredible, and it was well done, just really well done.
And then Ernie Caesar, 112 yards, a couple of touchdowns. He was the MVP.
Yeah, he was spectacular. He was. Ernie has a different gear than everybody else, and he has a way of shifting. You know, he's full speed in 2 steps. He has eyes in his feet. I mean, he can see anything and everything. He knows how to get those to manage and set up blocks, and he's great as far as getting in behind people. And he's so little he disappears. He pops out the other side, and now it's too late. He's on top of you. So he had a great game. Dale had a great game. You know, you could name a whole bunch of them. Von Dries had 2 picks. You know, Javari Sanders had the block punt and scored the touchdown. Was a freshman out of Louisiana. Just a lot of guys, you know, played well.
As we said, you got to use a bunch of guys. And going back to Ernie Caesar and running backs over the last couple of years, how do you recruit that? Do you have I mean, you obviously recruit those types of players for running back, but is that what you look for when you recruit in a running back?
Well, you look for guys that are for guys that are twitchy or electric that can really have a different gear. You look for guys that run at a different level, different speeds, that are tough, can run inside, good hands. You know, you want backs with bigger size if you can get them, but if the guys are electric and they're just a little bit smaller, you know, that's fine, because like Ernie doesn't take a shot. You don't get a clean shot on Ernie. The way he moves and he moves and just shifts, and he sees it coming, he's able to shift, you know. Ty Williams, another one, he made some really nice runs, very powerful back. Nick David West is more of a power style back, but we look for guys that are, you know, twitchy or electric. Ernie also was a great basketball player. I mean, he was averaging over 30 points in the playoffs his senior year, 30 at 5'5". So you know that he's explosive, he's athletic, got great vision.
And you've been working your tail off with your staff for, gosh, seemingly 2 years when the idea was first hatched, and then January when it started to come together. Did the whole week, the whole event, did it meet your expectations?
Oh, I think all the pregame, I think it all exceeded my expectations. It was more than I thought it would be. The events that we had a really nice, intimate event the Thursday night at Riata, and that was just really, really good. Great to meet a lot of people. I was really surprised by some of the people that were there. President of Country Music Awards, you know, Association was there. You had a guy from Luke Casey Boots was there, one of their big time people. It was amazing who came out. And then Friday night was spectacular. Went out to Marshall Brown's house, and he had just a dinner for both teams, and had Texas Day Brazil cater it. And to watch the kids interact, it was really neat, because they started slowly. And actually during lunch we went to Paco's downtown at the square, Sundance, and Paco's fed both teams, you know, for free. And man, those guys, they started it there. They started talking, and it was great to see the exchanges. And it started out, it'd be 6 of their guys and 1 of our guy, 5 of our guys and 1 of theirs. And then you looked up and it was all mingled. It was 3 and 4 and 5 and 5. And they just started talking about things. You know, reality is they're the same age. They have a lot of the same thoughts and interests. It's just a different culture. And they were very interested in our culture. And then our guys got really, you know, interested in what they were talking about. And so it started at the lunch on Friday at Paco's. And then, you know, carried over to Marshall Brown's house. And that was awesome. And then at the game, the concert was spectacular. The crowd was great, had a great crowd, probably the biggest one we've ever played before. And then our kids came up, rose up, and played really well. I got several texts, emails, etc., thanking me for inviting them, but also they would be back. I mean, you had Maddie Parker there, you know, you had Betsy Price there, you had Rick Wayburn there, you had all these people, the Mexican consulate. It was a who's who, and it was surreal. It was surreal to see an NAIA game have that kind of caliber of attendance.
And I got to talk to 6 of the players on Friday night, so thank you for having them available.
Sure, absolutely.
Got to know some of them. We had some pretty good conversations. Good. Hey, Coach, how do you prevent now them from becoming overconfident after a blowout like that?
You just show them tape of Arizona Christian. Just show them what they're up against. I mean, Arizona Christian is nationally ranked. They're in the top 20. We're not. They were ranked 3rd in conference. We were 2nd, but apparently the national opinion is that they're higher than we are, so we have a lot to play for. We know that the next 3 weeks are going to be a real, true, hard test of what we're going to face. We got 2 of the Arizona schools, and then we got OPSU. You got 2 nationally ranked teams in the next 3 weeks. You got to go get it. You have to go do it, and I don't feel overconfidence is going to be an issue. I really don't. They know how good Arizona Christian is. They know how good Ottawa is. They know how good OPSU is. It's back to work for us.
And they still have Duncan and Quinn and Tucker and Farrell. And who have they added, the Firestorm?
They have a few transfers that have come in on defense. I think there's a DB and a D lineman that have come in. But you know, they don't have Cole anymore. And Cole was different. You know, he went over in Europe, and I think he scored like 5 or 6 touchdowns in his first game there. So he's a different kind of talent. He's something like we just never see. I mean, he's that good. But Duncan and those guys are going to really present some issues and some challenges for us. But you know, we're ready for it. We know what we're going up against. We think they're going to have some guys that are surprises. We don't have any film on them. They got film on us. Just the way the conference sets up the film exchange in the pool. So it's it's going to be tough, man. But our guys, they're not. Overconfidence, I don't see being an issue.
And speaking of film, you guys beat them last year here. So without having any film currently, do you go back and look at that? And how much do you look at that tape from last year?
You look at that quite a bit. You look at that film, but then also you go back through all their other games that they played after that and just see the evolution and the progressions that they make. And, you know, you go through that process and you just got to get a good feel for them. But of course, they're going to be new. They're going to be a little different. They're going to have some wrinkles. We have to be prepared for a lot of different things. But we have a decent idea of their base, what they really like to do. And they're real sound in what they do. I mean, they've been nationally ranked for years, so why would you wholesale change? It wouldn't make any sense. So our job is to, you know, prepare well and be ready to go. We're actually going to practice at 8:45 the next 3 nights, just to kind of get our clocks set, you know, to mountain time. So we'll see how that works out.
And now with you beating them last year, I'd say the rivalry is on. So it's gotten, as I recall, kind of chippy in some games previously. Do you look forward to going out there and playing a team that might be a lot of chippiness going on?
Sure. You know, I mean, we plan on matching their intensity. I mean, the last time we were out there, we beat them, you know, on their homecoming and when their field was being the inaugural game on their field, and then they came here and had a great chance to beat us last year. So I would say we're evenly matched, and you know, there's always going to be some of that chippiness a little bit in those tight ball games like that. The key is to not let that become a distraction. That doesn't need to be the focus. That needs to be an afterthought, and hopefully something we don't engage in too much. We got to go to work, and you know, it's like I tell our guys all the time, if you really want to play well and you really want to show somebody something, execute. Execute well, don't talk, play ball. And if you do that, you got a chance to be successful.
Now, when do you take off? Thursday?
No, we're going to leave. We're going to leave Friday morning. We're going to fly out on Southwestern, and of course that's the biggest headache of all is when you're having to go through that process and making sure everybody's on there and your manifest is right, check-ins are right, the coordination of the buses to the airport, from the airport out to the buses there, the feeding process. It's a lot of logistics. Coach Townsend handled it for us last year, did a great job. Ryan Glover's picking up the slack on that, and he's doing a really top-notch job as well. And Townsend, you know, he went on to the USFL, so he works in the spring. He says, well, I can help you guys through this process, and that's big. I mean, he's done it, and he understands all the logistical piece. So that it's a challenge, but it's got to be done.
And it's a great facility, like you said 2 years ago. It's a brand new facility. I wish I could be going with you, but
Yeah.
Brendan and I won't be. But you can catch the game on ramsports.edu, at least the stats, and we'll look forward to it. It's a 9 o'clock kick Central Time, correct?
Yep. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it's the Rams and the Firestorm of Arizona Christian. Coach Joe Prud'homme, the award-winning Coach Joe Prud'homme, was 1-0 this season, and his Rams will be heading west to face those Firestorm. Coach, good luck, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate it.
For Coach Joe Prud'homme, I'm Jimmy the St. Christopher. We'll see you later on First and 10.